Los Angeles just sent City Hall a message. Sure, Karen Bass advanced in the mayor's race, but let's be very clear about something. This was certainly not the clean victory lap the political machine wanted. No. An incumbent mayor with the same name recognition, the establishment backing, the endorsements, the media protection, and the entire City Hall network behind her should not be struggling to clear 50%. She should not be looking over her shoulder at somebody like Spencer Pratt. But here we are. And that tells you something much bigger than the numbers. This tells you that a lot of people in Los Angeles are restless. We're restless. We're tired of the speeches. We're tired of the phony baloney press conferences. We're tired of hearing that the city is improving while they drive past tents, broken sidewalks, shuttered businesses. The street lights are out. Neighborhoods that feel completely and utterly abandoned. This was not just an election result. This was a warning shot.
I feel amazing. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Watch your back. Watch your back. Sorry. You don't have to do it. You get your shot.
Spencer right here, please.
Thank you so much.
Spencer right here. Thank you so much.
Is better?
Thank you so
much.
Okay.
Because when the incumbent not close the deal, that means people are not fully buying the story anymore. And that, I think, is the real headline. Not Karen Bass advances, no. The real headline is this: Karen Bass survived, but the machine got exposed. And the reason Spencer Pratt became dangerous in this race is not because everybody suddenly became obsessed with celebrity politics. It's because he became a vessel for voter frustration.
But you say, oh, Spencer Pratt has no experience, so how can we possibly think about this? What experience did Karen Bass have, or Rick Caruso, who we know can build things, who we know can fix problems, when you made sure he couldn't win? So right now, you're putting people in the same position that you did with Trump, who I did not vote for, by the way. You put him in by making sure we had no options, okay? And that's where we are in LA, and we want to fix this place because we don't want to be forced out. I'm one of the people who made this city look great. I did it for years. I glorified it. I meet people all the time that moved here because the show that I created, and they hate it here now. Hate.
Now let's talk about Spencer Pratt, because a lot of people in the media want to reduce this whole thing to some sort of a joke. They want to say, oh, this guy from reality TV. But that lazy explanation misses what's really happening here. Spencer Pratt did not rise in this race because people remember him from The Hills, from television. He rose because people are mad. They're angry. I'm mad. Perhaps you're angry. He rose because after the 2025 fires, after the homelessness crisis, after the public safety concerns, after the feeling that City Hall, Karen Bass keeps managing decline instead of reversing it, people started looking for someone outside the usual machine. Remember, Pratt lost his home in the fires, and his campaign gained energy from the criticism of how city leadership handled those disasters. That fire backlash became one of the major forces behind his outsider campaign. And here's the uncomfortable truth about it all. A lot of voters may not think Spencer Pratt has every answer. That's fair. But they know the people currently in charge do not deserve a blank check either. That is what the protest vote is. It's not always a perfect endorsement. Sometimes it's a rejection. Sometimes people are not saying, this outsider is my savior. Spencer Pratt is going to save us all. No. Sometimes they're saying, the insiders have failed enough. Karen Bass has failed enough. That's what City Hall should be afraid of. They should be very, very scared about that, because once people stop fearing the outsider, the machine loses one of its strongest weapons. But here's where the story gets even more important. This race is not over just because election night is over. Before anybody starts celebrating too early, let's slow down a bit. The LA mayor race is now moving into a much more dangerous phase. Karen Bass has advanced to the November runoff. But the second spot has been uncertain in some reporting because Spencer Pratt and Nithya Raman are still part of the final ballot count drama. ABC News reported Bass advancing, while her opponent remained unclear. And SF Gate noted, mail-in ballots could still matter. And that's important because Los Angeles elections do not end when people go to sleep on election night. They end when ballots are counted. So the next phase is going to be all about narrative control. The establishment is going to try to frame this as stability versus chaos. They're going to say, do you really want an outsider running Los Angeles? But The outsider argument only works when the insiders are doing a good job, and that's the problem. Because when regular people look around Los Angeles, they do not see stability. I don't see stability. Do you see stability? I see it. I think you see a city where the cost of living is out of control. I see, and I hope you see it, a homelessness crisis that keeps getting funded, but somehow never solved. I see, and I hope you see, public services breaking down. We see leaders who always have another explanation, another plan, another task force, another press conference. So the question going into November is not just, is Spencer Pratt qualified? The question is also, what exactly has the political class earned? Because experience is not valuable if the experience is managing failure. This LA mayor race is no longer just local politics. No, this is now a national story. Even Reuters included the Los Angeles mayor results in this wider California primary coverage. But you might ask, why are people watching? Because Los Angeles represents something way bigger than people think. LA is the city of celebrities, of activists, of billion-dollar budgets, nonprofit contracts, progressive promises, Hollywood endorsements, and endless political branding. But it is also the city where working people feel squeezed. It is also the city where renters feel trapped. It's the city where small businesses feel and are punished. It is the city where homelessness has become an industry. It is the city where leadership keeps asking for more and more and more money, more and more and more patience, more and more and more trust. And now a reality TV outsider has forced the incumbent mayor into a fight. That is why this story matters, because this is not just about Spencer Pratt, as I say over and over again. This is about what happens when people stop believing the people in power. And people with common sense do not believe and should not believe the people in power. This is about what happens when voters look at the machine and say, you had the budget. You had the power. You had the offices. You had the experts. You had the endorsements. So why does the city still feel broken? Why is the city broken? That's the question City Hall does not want to answer. And that is why this election matters, because whether Spencer Pratt wins, whether Spencer Pratt loses, or simply shakes the table, one thing is clear already. Los Angeles voters are no longer asleep. So that is where we are. Karen Bass advanced, but she did not dominate. Spencer Pratt became the protest vote. The runoff is now the real battle, and Los Angeles has become a national warning sign. This is bigger. I can't say it enough. This is bigger than one candidate. This is bigger than one election. This is about whether regular people still believe the same political machine that keeps asking for patience while the city keeps declining. And on election night, Los Angeles did not give City Hall a standing ovation. Los Angeles gave City Hall a warning.